Hey, everybody, welcome to the Car Dealership Guy podcast. We're live here at the DLRdmv booth at NADA 2026. Joining me today, Scott O'Loughlin, Chief Revenue Officer, and Brian Fraley, Sales Director. Welcome.
Thank you.
So what a show this has been. We're here on the very last day. I think we're all,
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's been an incredible, amazing week. AI's been a buzzword as we walked around.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the biggest attendance I've ever seen at any NADA show.
For sure.
Remember last year in New Orleans. This year's a little bit of catch up, but I also think people are super interested and concerned about some of the biggest issues in automotive today. That's what we do at Car Dealership Guides, is talk about those issues. So let's have a conversation.
Absolutely.
So other than AI, I think another major concern in automotive today is this.
Right.
You can sell a car, and there is need nationwide to sell a car all across the country. So if I'm in Chicagoland, which we are,
Right.
we want to be able to sell a car in Texas, in California, in Florida. We want to go everywhere. We can't do it unless, in addition to selling it and financing it in other states, we can title, license, and register the vehicle.
Exactly.
And if you have a question, you walk around the showroom floor, you know that one of the biggest problems has shown up in places like Carvana. They were shut down years ago in multiple states, prohibited from doing business because they couldn't execute on that title, license, and registration. We won't bring up other single-point dealerships or groups that have been impacted by a similar problem, but they're out there and they absolutely exist. What is the cost to a dealer group of not being able to execute on title, license, and registration, as simple as that is?
Well, there's a lot of challenges for them. And the state rules and regulations, as they move from one state to another, present challenges all through the process. And really, it's the final communication with your customers on how to get those plates handled securely, correctly, so that they can get the lien placed in time for their lenders. So challenges all throughout that process. The legalities of making sure everything is correct on the road, the title is correct, your lender partnerships, your customer partnerships, everything ties into that last impact.
So communication and a great process that's bulletproof is key. One of the challenges we see on our side, on the auto group, is in certain states, if you go past that 20-day mark, you also lose protections as a group.
Oh,
so if you don't have a partner that can help execute on that, what's the consequence of going past 20 days in some states? Well, you lose your ability to perfect liens and do other things.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is you've got to start early in the process. And that's what we try to do. And a big part of what we do is scaling across the country with people and boots on the ground to work with the dealers directly, is to make sure their process is implemented in a way to get that turnaround time as quick as possible, to keep them under that time limit, depending on what the state is, to avoid those challenges.
So look, I'm going to challenge you on that a little bit. A lot of companies in this space would say, hey, you know what? We have the technical expertise. We understand state law. We can turn around in time. I think folks watching this show would recognize that some companies would deliver on that initially and then fail later on down the road. So having that as a consistent approach over time, why sometimes do they nail it up front, but they're challenged with it later?
Well, one of the things you really have to do, and even us, any other vendor in this space, is you've got to continue to invest in the process. You can't just build it one time and let it sit because of all those rules and regulations. And that's a challenge for everybody.
How do you continually innovate and invest so that you're keeping up on rules, regulations, and you staff it enough that you're able to execute and deliver on the promises made?
Correct. We have a motto at DLRdmv, dealers first. If it's good for our dealer partners, good for our lender partners, our customers, we get it done, we invest in it. And so that's big for us. We have an integrated network of vendors across the country that we use to help us get these deals done quickly for our customers. And their expertise is key to this process. So we've invested in managers that just work with those vendors to make sure they're up to date. We have the information, the relationships. We're delivering on the SLAs to make sure our customers are getting their titles and plates in a timely fashion. But it's really about making sure you invest in all the right places all through the process to keep it up to date so that you have all the latest information. And that's really key.
So obviously you form new partnerships every day. Here at NADA is no exception, ton of dealers out there. What are some of the biggest horror stories you're hearing from clients that are saying, hey, help us out with this simple process? And by the way, in automotive, it's interesting. It's not complicated to sell a car. But it's also like execution is where it's all about, right? And this is an important execution.
For sure. And, I love talking to dealers about the challenges they face on a daily basis. And what surprises me sometimes is when it comes to out-of-state sales, that there is a hesitancy to sell a vehicle because of those challenges, and they know they're out there. Maybe they've had some issues in the past. Maybe there's a review.
Have you ever sat and quantified the impact to a dealer operation who says, hey, I don't have a good enough process to sell out of state? I mean, it's got to be significant.
It is. And when you hear those things, you think, you know what? This is why we do it.
Yeah.
Like your business, you're doing everything right in a lot of places, but you still have challenges and you're avoiding the opportunity to grow potentially, to generate additional revenue because you're not sure you have the right tool or the right partner. Brian's out there talking to our dealers on a daily basis and he hears those challenges and we listen and we try to build solutions to help dealers get through those issues.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. We listen to dealers and we try to build solutions to help them.
So you're subject matter experts in this area of titling, licensing, registering in multiple states. And just as an aside, do you have like a specific horror story of somebody, like, without you bringing up the dealer name?
The biggest thing is dealers really are, sales desk managers are really scared of out-of-state deals, right? They don't know how to calculate it. They don't know anything about what that customer needs to bring forward at time of purchase to make the sale complete.
Okay.
So it's just,
how do you meet that need at DLRdmv?
We show the customers or the dealership upfront accurate calculations, specific facts about that state that the sales desk might need to know when they're working that deal. And then also all the customer must-haves for that state.
Okay. And where does that information reside? So I'm a desk manager. I'm desking my deal, getting ready for it to go into finance. Where do I pull that up so I make sure?
Right on our website.
Okay.
Yep.
So there's
right
through our portal. It'll show it, right?
Yep.
And I think the concept of the portal is really key in this entire solution and just for dealers in general because of compliance and PII. And what are you doing with the PII? Are you emailing paperwork somewhere? Or how are you sending it? Who are you sending it to process? And that's something that the last few years, it's become really important for dealers to understand the issues related to PII and how you handle that. So as Brian was referring to our portal, it's a secure portal. So all the communication stays in the portal. So you're avoiding the email back and forth. And that's one of the times I remember talking to a dealer group, multiple stores, multiple locations. Every store was kind of doing things their own way. So there was really no good oversight or vision into what their process was, what their turnaround times were. And I understand there's a time and solution for that. But in the end, as you're growing and scaling and your impact is reaching beyond other states, you need to have a good process with good information and it needs to be compliant. And that's one of the things we're trying to work with dealers. Sitting there, I have a controller, 4 or 5 stores. Hey, we email. We have a vendor, we email. It's like, all right, let's talk about that a little bit. You know,
not at all.
Can we work around that? Let's talk about the impact of that. And that's what we try to do with our partners.
So you've got the portal, it has the wealth of information. It keeps you updated, dealers updated on all the rules and regulations in each state. What do you say to a sales manager or a finance manager that just won't go into the portal?
Right.
Obviously you can have all the data, but if they don't use it and execute on it, that's a challenge too.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we work with dealers and we talk about the solutions, it really, I think, has to come from leadership within the dealership.
This needs to be followed. It's got to be adhered to.
Yeah, you invest in tools for a reason. And you've got to use those tools to get the results that your dealership needs to be successful. So, when Brian is working, Brian's got experience, working on a desk at dealerships. And when you're working and you build out a solution, hey guys, this is what we need to do so we don't get caught. Let's set the expectations with our customers about what's required to get a vehicle registered in Massachusetts. Like, we have the information, let's use it. And we try to do that in a way where we work with our operations, field staff, to work with the dealers to say, guys, here's the information.
But when you set this up, you're not sending people in the store because it's a labor-intensive process. You've probably got like an LMS or like an online training portal that people go to train on it.
It's a good question. So we made the decision, we're going to do an implementation on site.
Oh, wow.
We feel like it's
Live
important.
people on site.
In every store.
That's a big commitment.
Yeah. Training the sales desk, training F&I, sending them to the accounting office, helping process deals.
Which, by the way, that's important because, again, you can have the portal, but if people don't use the portal, it's not good for much.
And we found historically in title and registration, the impact is greater in person and on site to get the attention and to really get that experience early in the process. The stronger the implementation is, the easier it will be to implement the process on the back end.
How it starts, it goes, right?
I mean, that's basically it. So it's important to us to have boots on the ground and do those installs on site.
All right. So invariably, dealers are going to run into a problem. There's going to be a delay in getting something licensed, registered, lien perfected, whatever, in a particular state. What do I do as a sales manager? I get that phone call from the irate customer. It's not finished yet. Where do I go with you?
It's a great question. And, this is something I think dealerships, I love when we talk to dealers and we answer the phone in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
It almost takes people aback a little bit. Like they
Yeah.
expect to be on hold. I got to make a phone call. Again, our passion is dealers. It's implementing solutions that make dealers successful. So you got to be available when they have a problem.
And how long did you say?
10 seconds,
seconds.
is our average.
That's great. But
Okay.
a lot of companies would say that, and then they fail a year down the road or 5 years down the road.
Right.
How do you ensure that's consistent today and 5 years?
You got to monitor it.
Yeah.
You got to monitor. You got to keep up with it. You got to make sure you have great people. One of the things for us, we brought an army of people here at NADA Show 2026, pros that are passionate about our dealers, just like we are.
Yeah.
And so we like to say we're strong in all areas. You've got to be as a dealership leader.
Yeah.
You've got to make sure you've got the right people in the right places.
Yeah.
Strong in support in the field, strong in sales and Brian's team,
Yeah.
strong at support.
Yeah.
And again, we've invested in a group here with our DLR50 product for out-of-state title and registration that just handle those challenges.
That's interesting.
A lot of times, Sam, what we do, we have a dealer call us with an issue. That's when the need really arises.
Yeah.
We solve problem deals. They're not even customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let us help you out. We'll take care of that.
Yeah.
We have an integrated network of vendors that are here for us. Let us help you. And we'll get a deal done. And they're like, okay, yeah, we see what happens here. And then they come on board and we work.
And I think it opens up more areas to sell out-of-state customers too, right?
Yeah.
As the sales staff and the sales management staff gets more comfortable knowing they have a team that can back them up on those
Yeah.
out-of-state deals.
You can sell confidence.
Exactly.
Yeah. So maybe the bad experience the dealer had a year ago, it can be unwound on this.
Oh yeah.
By having good experiences, because that's what trust is, right? You
Yep.
deliver consistently over time. Now we can reach out. We can have fraud or
So, I mean, you have tremendous knowledge and experience in the industry. I'd love to hear.
I don't know about that.
I'd love to hear a little bit from your side, though. I mean,
Yeah.
being in the business, I'm sure you understand, the impact of title and registration, even though it's not very exciting for a lot of people.
No, that's
It's not moving cars, but
Yeah.
it is customer impact.
Yeah.
It is name impact. When you go out there and a bad
Yeah.
experience leads to a review. I'm just a little bit curious on your experience.
No, I mean,
for
you know
some
what?
of
I
those
think the
things.
Carvana thing was a national headline that
Mhm.
probably terrified most dealers. I mean, you saw that and you realize, look, it's a low expense, low cost item. I mean, you guys
Right.
aren't making millions of this, right? It's something that's very competitive, company to company from a fee standpoint.
Right.
And what you've got to do is have a product that truly executes on what it says it's going to do.
Yeah.
And our own experience, I've seen, this is anecdotal, but it's just my own, is a lot of companies will come into the space making big promises and they'll do well for a period of time, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months. And then I don't know if it's staff cuts or technology or, to your point, lack of innovation.
Right.
It can become a problem later on down the road.
Right.
Look,
Yeah.
then you're sitting on a platform that is declining in its efficiency. And it goes from being a nice to have to a disaster.
Right.
And then you've got to make a change and you've got to implement a whole new system. You got to rotate through again. And to your point, so there's a financial cost to the deals you can't get transacted. There's a reputational cost if it gets out there.
Yeah.
There's a CSI problem. Right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Customers are frustrated because they think it's on you and you're like, hey, we did all we could. So dealers, I think, will navigate through that in unique and interesting ways. They'll say, hey, you go take care of it on your own. They'll try to put it off on the consumer, but that's not what's best for you. Right? What's best is having a partner that truly will own that start to finish.
And that's what we work to be. We started, just a quick origin story of kind of where we came from. DLRdmv started with a bunch of people who've been in the industry, seen the challenges, seen how much it takes to invest to make sure you're up to date. And we got together and did it our way. And that way is listening to the dealers and building solutions that cure their pains when it comes to title and registration.
Yeah.
So we had thousands of dealers in Florida and Georgia, Minnesota, Wisconsin, doing our in-state product, e-titling side directly to the state DMVs. And they were coming to us even after 30 years of the out-of-state title and registration business saying, guys, there's still nothing out there that really solves our problems and our pains. So we listened to them. And they were like, can you build it? Can you guys build this?
No.
So we did it. We built it. We listened to them. And now we're here at NADA having a great time with a large booth and a great team. 200 plus dealers coming by the booth just saying, how can you help us?
Well, congrats on your growth, your success. Thanks for being here at NADA. And in particular, thanks for the conversation about a topic that it doesn't stand out to the forefront to every
Right.
dealer on a financial statement, but is an absolute no-go if you're trying to do business out of state.
Absolutely.
And even in a lot of cases in
We
states.
appreciate your time. It's
Yeah,
been great
Scott,
talking.
much.
O'Loughlin, Chief Revenue Officer, Brian Fraley, Sales Director, DLRdmv. Thank you both for being here.
Absolutely. We
Awesome. Thanks
appreciate
so
it.
much.
Thank you.